Good evening, guys. Have to wait for people to arrive. In the meantime, just sit back. I hope you've been sitting back at least some of the day, at least short periods maybe. Just going to move into this evening slowly. So whilst we're waiting for people to connect, if you're already here, we are just going to, you guessed it, we're going to pause. What a surprise. So, just come out of that pretty little head of ours, of yours, of mine, of ours, and we come down into the body. Maybe close your eyes, maybe take your eyes away from the screen. And just become aware of the body and the breath. Just feel the breath, that movement of the body. You may find it as a relief if you close your eyes. Maybe you've been doing a lot of staring during the day at the screen, or just having eyes open and a lot of stimulation, visionary stimulation, can be a bit overwhelming. So close the eyes. Give the eyes a rest. That's it. Allowing any sounds to be part of the experience. You feel that movement of the breath. Just watch for moving away from home. Remember, if you've been here before with me, we describe the body as our home. And we just label that leaving home as thinking. And we just follow that natural breathing. That's the way. See, the less we do here, the better. But we are curious. We do feel the breath as it comes and it goes. We stay alive as best you can to each moment. Notice how each moment brings something different. A different cluster of sensations here, the next moment there, an itch, the end of an itch. Sound passes through. We notice the feeling of hunger or feeling full from a good meal. You notice the breath. Thought passes through. And you're left with a small gap. Then another thought passes. Another one, another one, another one. Okay, so we are going to meditate again in a little while. So feel free to bring that session to a close, or carry on with your eyes closed if you wish, or turn away from the screen. This is the unshaven version of Surya Chitta. So I hope you can all hear me. So in this session, I want to cover one or two areas. I've got something at the back of my mind. I want to say more about this missing link to our practice. And we're going to actually do an exercise around that to show what our missing link can be. It's a lot of people's missing link. And also, if we have time, I want to talk about everyday life a little bit more. About, what do we do when we likely to go into a scenario or circumstances where we might get swept away by our emotions. Okay, there's something around I've been dwelling on the idea that we're not fixed. And the fact that we believe deeply that we are fixed causes a lot of suffering. We know that the weather's not fixed. We know that a car isn't fixed. It changes. It changes over the weeks, months and years. The tyres wear out. It needs a new door or a new battery. So it's changing regularly. Well, it's changing all the time. Every moment, everything is changing. There is just change. We can see, when I see people on the TV that I haven't seen for maybe 10 or 20 years, you're like, goodness me, they've changed. I haven't, but I haven't changed. Of course, I'm not. I'm still same as I was when I was 21. Yeah. It's we can see the outside world changing. The seasons. When I lived at the retreat centre, it was very much an outdoor life because I lived in a hut and I had to go outside for almost everything. And just spending time outside, being the gardener, and I was much aware of the seasons. Just the changiness from almost daily changes, you could sense and see. The latest phone, out after a while, it's obsolete. It's gone. It's finished. But we can see that we can open to that, the outside world. But we're not very good at. No, there's something about me that's fixed. See, we are like a river. A river's continuously changing, and it's quite obvious when you look at a river because it's normally moving, and you put your hand in, and it's everything's moving sometimes quite rapidly. We are actually like a river. We are changing every moment. I mean, science can prove this under a microscope, but that really doesn't. If we see it under a microscope, it still doesn't give us this emotional freedom that we're seeking. Okay. And what I want to do in a little while is I want to. So, let me put it another way. We prefer to think ourselves as this sort of separate entity, separate and stable from the rest of life. Life changes, but I don't. Now, intellectually, you do, but emotionally, we're resistant to that. And I want to share a meditation around this. Now, there's two aspects to this meditation. I'm only going to share one tonight. If you're interested in the other half of it, I'll do it another night, but I'm not going to do it this evening. It's the first half is about interconnectedness with all of life. And the second half is about death. So in a short while, I'll send an email out about this meditation on death and an evening around it. So if you're interested, you can, we can do something now. But I don't want to just sort of launch it on you this evening. Okay. Jan can hear me. Yes, you can hear me, Jan. Thank you. But I just want to go into this searching a little bit. We're all searching, aren't we? We spend our life searching for something. Everybody is searching. Whether you admit it or not, you are searching. Whether you're on this webinar or not, you are searching. Now, if you want to put over in the chat what you're searching for, or what a human being searches for, it's better if you can make it personal. Not personal, the story, but just, I search for this, I search for that. It may be as gross as possessions. I search for something. But then that search gets more and more subtle. We search for appreciation. We search for validation. We search for approval. We search for peace, happiness, contentment, whatever you want to call it. So we're all searching. Hitler was searching. He was much more confused than most of us, just about everybody. And I'm sure there's been similar characters in history. You're thinking that if we obliterate a certain race or get what we want, conquer the whole, that'll do it. Nothing does it, guys. Nothing in the external world will do it. Now, we're not saying don't seek a good relationship, have a good family, have a good job, have a good car, nice holidays. We're not saying don't have them. I have them. They're basically just living an ordinary, a good, honest, ordinary, healthy life as best we can. Can't always. We know that. I wish we could. Yeah, but we can't always have that. But we're all searching. My wife Gaynor does it beautifully. Some of you might have heard me talk about this before. Might be sitting there on an evening and she, I want something. I don't know what it is, but I want something. And I sort of kid, oh, shall I go to the fridge and get the yogurt pot? Greek yogurt, that normally does it. I like it with the Greek yogurt. That must do it. It's Greek and it's creamy. It does it for about 5 seconds, But what we do, and a lot of our activity is about avoiding that something that we're not comfortable with. So what I'm saying here is we're all searching, but what we do, our attention goes to the object of the search. We are searching for something. So the object, we go to the object. That approval, the car, the job, the appreciation, the love, whatever it is, you know what I'm saying. It goes to all those things. What we don't do and what we need to learn to do is take our attention. Our attention still goes out. We've just got to go out into the outside world. But we also do that. So our attention goes to that is driving the search. Do you get this? Our attention, as we practice, we don't have to do this intentionally every go to the search, go to word search. But as we become aware of our thinking, label our thought, we see how again and again it's taken us to this some place that's not here. not here and now. And as we practice labeling our thoughts, thinking, and we have that capacity to come back to the here and now, in a sense, we wear this out because we see it time and time and time again. And we begin to see that this is not working. It's not, it doesn't do the business. It doesn't do the job. And so as we let go of this, we naturally fall back into the here and now. But to begin with, for the first few months, for even sometimes for the first few years, depending on the individual, it's difficult being here because what you hit is that is doing the searching, that is driving the search. Something is driving us to search. To keep us busy looking in a certain place. It's like that the man who lost his key for his house at nighttime in the back garden. So because the light is no good there, he looks in the front garden underneath the lamppost. He never finds it. He never, ever finds the key because he's looking in the wrong place. And the light's better for us out there. We could sort of, pick it up and sort of work with it and do things with it. And it's sort of recognizable. It's got shapes and forms and colors, and we can touch it. Our inner world, it's all a bit like, what's this? What do I do with this? Nobody's shown me what to do with it. And this is linked to what I said earlier, called the missing link. There's something that's driving the search. You get up and want something dry. I'm not about the urge to get up and just make a cup of tea. And if we can do that without this idea somewhere that something will do it, it's almost constant. It's a constant hum that we tend to keep away from. We're going to have a pause and we're going to have a meditation. Please send over any questions before we do. If you need to know anything, need anything clarifying. In the meantime, we're just going to have a pause. We're good at pause. We're getting good at pauses, aren't we? There's not many of us on here tonight, guys, so do send them over if you want to, because this is only for people on the Mindful Life program, okay? So we've not got hundreds of people on tonight. It's just a few of us. So just pausing, just coming back into the body, just here. So once again, just dropping down into the body. And notice when you're lost in thinking, and learn to unhook yourself from thinking. Thoughts are fine, there's nothing wrong with them. Okay, so someone says the actual webinar is not working. So they're accessing via YouTube. Okay. Sorry about that, Liam. Switch pages to send questions. Okay. Maybe one or two can't access it directly. But it is working on YouTube, apparently. Not sure how that works myself, but well done, Lee. Working that one out. Okay, so some questions may come over and I'll move on to them after this. So I want to do a meditation on what's called the missing link. Yeah. So prepare your posture, sit up. I mean, you can lay down if you want to, guys. It's no problem. But just sort of stay awake. Okay? Do your best to be awake and aware. So you might want to close your eyes for this one. So having a sense of the body as a whole. And noticing if there's any pleasure in your experience to begin with. Is it pleasurable just to sit still? Is there in that pleasure may take the form of relief? Oh, at last. That's it. So just having a sense of the whole body. And particularly to begin with, be aware of any part of the body that feel open and relaxed, or even sense the space around the body. Because the space around the body is at ease. It's not tense. And we can sense that. Perhaps take your attention to your lips resting gently together. There's questions coming over, so I will respond after this session. So just coming back. Take your attention to your face, to your lips resting gently together. That's it. How about the eyelids? See, notice how delicate the eyelids are. It's just a sense of quiet, reasonable quiet. I know it's not going to be completely silent. But is that pleasurable in any way? Maybe just in the form of a relief, as I say. And maybe just following the breath. Is the end of the out breath a relief? When is the letting go? Hmm. And then we're going to take our attention to further inside the body. And I want you to pick out something or choose something inside that wants your attention. It might be a tension somewhere, or an irritation, a sadness, a frustration, or it might be something just, what's that? If there isn't anything obvious, you can drop in this question, and the question is, what is stopping me from feeling really content right now? Not as a concept, as an experience in the body. And feel what's there. What does it feel like? Well, this is our missing link. This is what we don't normally do. We don't spend time with something. So we're going to spend time with something. Feeling into this, noticing the different qualities, maybe its shape, its texture. allow this something, whatever it is, to reveal itself. Invite it to reveal itself. How do we do that? How do we invite something to reveal itself? We give it space. We give it attention. We become aware of it as a present moment force, present moment emotion, sensation. That's it. Just stay with this a little while longer. And notice how you feel towards it. Be honest. Did you want it to go away? Okay, so we're going to expand awareness to include other parts of the body, noticing again any pleasure in your experience. It's very easy to overlook pleasure. Okay, and then when you feel ready, you can open your eyes, become aware of your head and shoulders and your torso, your hips and legs, feet, arms and hands. That's it. And I'm just going to repeat a question we have from Lee here, and then you just sit quietly and absorb what's gone on. Then please send over any questions. I might see if I can turn on the ability to speak. So there's a question here. When we say searching, do we mean the wanting mind? As this is so strong and constantly in the background, is the way forward to be aware before we act? So I'm just going to respond to that in a few moments here. So I just want people to come around, come back, as it were. So that question, when we say searching, do we mean the wanting mind? Well, yes, I do mean the wanting mind. And also, but it depends what you mean by the mind. What is the mind? There are thoughts which appear to be up here, but that deep searching comes from somewhere else, somewhere deeper, if you like. Comes from almost the center, not the center, but almost very deep in our being. It's covered over. You know, it keeps us active because we don't want to face it. You know, so we have this momentum away from it. So we want something. We keep propelling ourselves away from it. It's like we go back there, we bounce off it. We're trying in any way possible to alleviate it, to try and get rid of it, to cover it over, whatever way we can. You know, busyness is a good one. It's good to know how you do it. Busyness is the modern one, I think. It's the modern way we keep away from this. And then, as a consequence, we end up exhausted. Overthinking, again, it leads to exhaustion and lots of suffering. Addictions, it's another way of avoiding this. And so what we've just done there, guys, is learning just to turn towards something that we might not want to turn towards initially. But when I turn towards something like that, what I find is relief. That's what I find. I find a certain relief in it. Because if I turn to the sensation directly, what I'm with is the sensation and not my thinking about it, not my thought about it. Is it a form of distraction, avoiding our pain? Yes, of course it is. Absolutely spot on. Now, we all need a time to get out of our story. I'm not suggesting we do this all day. We just need periods. If you just have periods each day, guys, where you visit this, you visit looking at the mind, noticing your thoughts, labeling your thoughts, coming back to your breath, coming back to the body, coming back to pleasure, or coming back to something that's unpleasant if it's in your experience, something begins to shift in our life. At some point, and we can't say when, you start to notice small changes going on. You might have done it the other day in a class. You might notice that I'm not so anxious as I used to be. What's happened there? How did that go? Then you might get anxious about not being anxious. Because we get so used to these ways of being, but then that secondary anxiety drops away quite soon. Guilt can drop away completely. There's such a lot of guilt in our culture, in our society, and from my observation, and please, I may be wrong here, but it tends to be women suffer from more from guilt than men, for whatever reason that is. Now, I may be wrong, but it's just from my observations of coming on the course. Of course, I get more women on the course, so I think men have maybe something different going on with them, what brings them along. But we all have our stuff. So it is a form of distraction. You know, it's avoiding our pain. But by avoiding it, we don't heal it. And it doesn't mean to say you're with your pain every moment of the day. in a way that I'm talking about, going directly to anyone. We don't do that. But it leads to a life of ease, more ease in your being. More joy. Not the joy of, not this sort of, not the excitement, the excited joy, just the quiet joy. Got a note from Jan, she's now on YouTube. Okay, so I'm not sure what's the matter with the webinar itself, but YouTube's working. So do send anything over if you want anything responding to, guys. There's one or two more things I want to go into. Let's just have a pause. Just have a stretch. So perhaps I think it might be better if we talked about everyday life, actually, first. And if we have time, we'll go into the, the interconnectedness. But we might be able to leave that for another time and do that and the whole death thing together. Okay. I've just got a question. Would you say this kind of meditation of looking within should be daily or less frequent? As I felt a relief and a lightness from the session. You can do. What that means, Lee, is that or your question means, Lee, is that, or your point is that you were there with the sensation without a lot of thinking and opinions and judgments. So when you're with something just like that, so there's awareness, there's the sensation, there's awareness, and they come together without any filter of thinking in between them, of judgments, of I don't like this, I hate it, I want to get rid of it, blah, 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 blah. And what that does, it releases things. It releases the sensation, the tension, the heaviness, whatever it is. Okay. Now that doesn't happen immediately all the time, but over the weeks and months, this always moves in the direction of healing and lightness. So I felt a lot light to myself when I do this. I might have had a heavy day and say, oh. I'm going to answer your question more, Lee, but I just want to see there are certain things, there are certain emotional knots we tie during the day. And when we sit in meditation of an evening or the next morning, they're quite easy to untie because they're on the surface. Now, we need to learn to untie these emotional knocks or knots on a daily basis. or we keep fairly light. But if we don't know how to do this, we don't do a practice of enabling us to release these emotional knocks and knots and the bangs from life, they mount up. And so a lot of us have got stuff there from childhood that, as we practice, comes to the surface over time and then is released. Now this has got to be done. This is done very gradually. That's why the movement from heaviness to lightness is very gradual. From feeling ill at ease to feeling at ease, it's gradual. Now, should it be done daily or less frequent? If there's something in your experience that really wants looking at, I would spend time there and then. Something will come up. If there's stuff there and you meditate regularly, stuff will come up, okay, for you to look at. Now, if you feel okay to do this each day, what I ask is, what wants my attention right now? And it might just be my breath. I might be following my breath, and I notice something else, maybe behind the breath or somewhere wants attention, so I'll take my attention there. Feel that heaviness or that feeling like a fist in the chest or the belly, and I'll spend time with that. Then when it feels the right time, I'll move back to the breath, or I'll just hear the sounds. Good question. Good question. So there's no hard and fast rule. We don't need to do it every day. But you might be going through a period, we all go through difficult periods where things have happened. And it's good to really catch you with this stuff that's going on in your life. Allow it to be experienced. Okay? So I just want to say something about everyday life. And really it's a reminder, because I talk about this every few months. Because I think it's everyday life, it's where it all happens, isn't it? It's where life happens to us. People, we interact with people. We bang up against people. So it's very easy to get swept away in daily life, isn't it? It might be just busyness, just job. Yeah. Have an intention at the beginning of the day to just, I'm going to do my best just to be aware when I'm beginning to get swept away, and I'm just going to have a few moments of coming back home. Just an intention at the beginning of the day. Okay? As you've heard me say before, bring in a few pauses to your days. And look out for times when you get swept away with a lot of emotion. Someone might have criticised you. It might be a difficult meeting you're going to. And what I tend to do then is become friends with the breath. I label my thinking and I become friends with the breath. That's what we can do. So let's say I'm going into a meeting and I know it's going to be tricky. Let's say this guy's quick on his feet and he's going to challenge me and whatever. Okay, so I can just take a few moments before then, just So Richard, you go into this meeting, just be prepared. So I just take a few moments just to prepare myself for the unexpected. So I become friend with the breath. Nobody knows I'm doing it. Nobody knows I'm friend with the breath. The breath, the breath, the breath. Don't do that. Just friends with the breath. And what that does, it gives me some inner space. So I'm less likely to react. In a sense, I'm grounded in my body. I'm not in my head with all the. Yeah. I've got some space. I've got some inner space, or we can have some inner space, so that we can respond rather than just reacting to something. And let's take it a step further. Let's say somebody has a go at you, and all you want to do is have a go back. Okay. All you want to do is have a go back. So, see that emotion of wanting to have a go back. It's almost like, you know, like the sea, the wave of the ocean. It rises and then crashes. What we need to be able to do is to learn to ride that wave. So we feel that wave coming, but if we identify it, we feel it in the body. It rises, or it goes boom. It can be very, very quick, can't it? Boom. And you just want to not hit the person physically, but you just want to hit back. Maybe you want to hit the person physically, hopefully not, but it does happen. It's because there's no awareness in the system, or there's not enough awareness. So we learn to ride the wave when it crashes. And it only takes a few seconds, guys. Test this out. It takes about 2 seconds for it to subside. And then that 2 seconds just gives you some perspective. And then you may walk away, or you may just say something that's a bit more considered than what you would have said 2 seconds ago. In the body, with the breath. If there's any points you want to send over, guys, please feel free to do so. So spend a few moments becoming friend with the breath right now. Taking a pause. Okay, so I just want to give you some home practice, okay? Well, that's one of them in your daily life again, and this is about daily life too. It's home practice. So the first home practice is what I've just shared with you. Just try it out, and if you don't get it, guys, it's okay. See this as all about training. Most of you have trained for years in your professions. Well, this is a lifetime training. This is training for the rest of your life. I'm still training. I'd have thought I'd have mastered it within 3 months. That was in 1989. But I tell you, it's been the best training I've ever done. Better than any PhD or anything. And I'm not knocking PhDs, they're brilliant, I'm sure. Yeah. But, this is great training because it benefits every area of your life. Everything. So, what we want to do is, or rather, what we normally do is we close down to life. We don't like too much reality, we like to close down, keep things. And one way of doing that is we throw our judgments and labels at people. You just walk down the street, and this is your home practice. Walk down the street and really notice your labels of people. Or maybe even better, in your workplace. Notice your label, notice the labels you put on people. Then look at that person, see that person beyond the label. If you do that, you'll have a quiet mind for a few seconds. It gives you, you want to see this person without the label. You see them without the label of idiot, whatever, whatever the label is, or, it's snooty, whatever. Just see them without the label. So take it to more and more of your work colleagues. Don't do all at once. Just take it a bit at a time. And when you walk down the street at lunchtime, hopefully you come out of the office at lunch and have a proper lunch break. You walk down the street and just notice all your labels and look at people without the labels. They're a very different experience of the world. See, labels close the world down to fixed. See, judgments, fixed, 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 fixed. Everything becomes fixed. I know that person, he's an idiot. I know him. That's it. He's fixed. He's great. I love him. Fixed. Nothing wrong with that, of course. But that's not him either. So notice beyond your judgments. It's easy to suspend judgments for a few seconds. Just try, just to get a glimpse of the world without labels, the world without judgments and opinions. And there's a saying in Zen: don't seek the truth, just drop your opinions. In our language, drop your opinions, drop your judgments, drop your labels, and see the world afresh. Look in the mirror and see yourself without all those labels, even for a few seconds. There's just a being here. It doesn't need to be fixed. We're like the river. Remember, we're like the river. But we don't like that because it's too unpredictable. Whoa, I want to fix it. Now I know. And then life becomes stale and stagnant. Lifeless, like the block of ice I've often talked about. Okay. So, hope that's okay, guys. So, as I say, I'm happy to lead something for the group on death and interconnectedness. Now, I might run for mindful life only. I might open it out to all, but you guys obviously will get access to it. But also, in the new year, I'm running a 4-week, and you'll have access to this. So I'm not telling you this. You'll have access to it. To a 4-week, 4-session Who's Living Your Life voice dialogue. You've done it with me before. I love voice dialogue. It's so instant, so alive in the moment. If you're not familiar with voice dialogue, you haven't done any with me before, just send me an email and I'll send you 1 or 2 links to let you have a look. I've done a few videos on it. Okay. Really jolly good session. A massive thank you. Thanks, Lee. Thank you very much. Have a good evening, guys. Good night.